You can feel it, can't you? His presence, it's something that goes beyond touch, conversation, or gestures. It's as if his soul has blended with yours in a unique way, an invisible yet profound connection that reveals itself in the way he looks at you, as if he sees something inside you that no one else does, as if he knows what you're feeling even without words. But there's something that prevents this connection from being completely free, something he still can't put into words, but it's always there, quietly present. He doesn't know how to deal with it, and maybe you haven't fully noticed it either, but it's real. He is torn, and you feel it. He loves you, and you know that. The way he watches you, how he cares for you, how everything inside him seems to align when he's near you, but there's something inside him that weighs him down, something that makes him hesitate, pull back, something not visible on the surface, but he feels it every time he's with you. It's the difference he cannot ignore. His culture, his religion, the beliefs that have been passed down to him since he was born. He was raised to believe in certain things, to live a certain way, and those beliefs have shaped how he views the world. This is more than just simple habits. It's the foundation of who he is, and what he understands as right and wrong. But you are different. And that makes him feel vulnerable, like he's walking a tightrope between what he feels and what he was taught to believe. The pressure inside him is immense. It's not just the love he feels for you, it's also the doubt that consumes him, the guilt that in some way he begins to carry when he thinks about how this would affect his life, his family, his community. He loves you. But can his love be enough to face all of this? He looks at you and sees what could be, a life together without barriers, without limitations, where hearts understand each other without words, where souls touch freely. But there's a shadow that creeps into his mind whenever he imagines a future. He knows how difficult this can be, how heavy his culture and traditions are, how strong his religion and worldview are. Deep down, he fears that this love may not be enough to overcome it. He can feel it in the glances from his family, in the sighs of those around him, in the way conversations become tense whenever he mentions you. He has noticed. The differences between you are not just superficial. They run deep. They are part of who he is. And sometimes he wonders, can he be true to himself and still love you? Can he allow his heart to be free without losing the roots of where he comes from? These doubts are not easy to carry. He just wanted to love you without anything else, no conditions. But the reality of cultural differences knocks at his door, and sometimes he feels that love is not enough. He's torn between the desire to be free to follow what he feels and the weight of his community's expectations, which want him to follow the path that has always been laid out for him. What do you do when your heart says one thing and the world around you says another? If this has happened to you, comment, "I needed to hear this." You've seen that look. You've noticed his hesitation when your conversations start to take a more serious turn. When feelings begin to grow, he pulls back a little. He doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to lose you. But sometimes he wonders if he can truly be who he is by your side. And the most painful part is that he fears you will see what lies behind this silent struggle. He tries not to show you. He tries to keep everything under control, as if he's balancing the impossible, his love for you, and his loyalty to his culture, to his family, to his religion. And it's that loyalty that's always there, whispering in his ear, reminding him of who he is, what he must do and who he must be. He can't love you completely without a weight on his chest. Sometimes he feels like he's losing himself. Every time he gets close to you, there's something that pulls him back, as if he's splitting his soul into two pieces. One part of him loves you, and the other part needs to be with the people who shaped him, who defined him. Have you ever experienced something like this? Tell me in the comments. His dilemma is not simple. It's not just about love. It's not just about you. It's about identity, about belonging, about acceptance. And that's why, even when he looks at you with so much desire, so much affection, so much devotion, there's a quiet sadness in his eyes. He wants to be with you. He wants to be free to love you without the weight of what's going to happen next. But at the same time, he feels that his identity is being questioned, and that's more complicated than he ever thought. How is it possible to reconcile what he feels for you with what he has to live in the reality he was raised in? He loves you, but he's afraid of losing what he knows, of what he's always believed to be right. He fears that by surrendering to this love, he's sacrificing an important part of who he is. He doesn't know how to explain this to you because maybe he doesn't even fully understand it himself, but it's what he feels. That fear doesn't go away. It only grows. Every time he looks at you, the internal struggle becomes stronger. He wishes he could give you everything you deserve, a life without barriers, without limitations. But he doesn't know if he can. He's caught between two worlds, his love for you and the expectations of his own world. But that's not all. He feels that if he can't live this love with you, he'll lose a fundamental part of his life. He knows this. Deep down, he feels that what he's facing now is a tough choice, something that could change everything forever, and he's starting to realize something. He's beginning to understand that at its core, the biggest obstacle isn't the difference between the two of you. It's not culture. It's not religion. The biggest obstacle is his own fear. The fear of losing himself, of fading away, of not being himself anymore, of not being accepted. But can love be stronger than that? Can he realize that by loving you, he's not losing anything, but rather finding something he never knew existed? Does that make sense to you so far? Write yes down below. He feels that there's something deeper here, something he doesn't fully understand yet, but it's pulling him toward you. And that's becoming clearer and clearer. Love can be stronger than any barrier. He's already come to see that. But now he needs to understand if this love can be enough for him to break free from the shackles of fear, doubt, and guilt. He's starting to perceive something even deeper, something that he may have avoided seeing until now. The fear isn't just about losing the acceptance of the world around him. It's not about the pain of disappointing his family or being seen as someone who didn't take the expected path. It's not just that. His greatest fear is discovering that he may not be able to be who he truly is by your side. Because deep down, he fears he won't be enough for you. And he loves you more than words can explain. The cultural difference, the religious beliefs, everything that seemed like an insurmountable obstacle begins to lose its power in the face of the strength of the love he feels. But there is something even more frightening for him. The fear that this love won't be enough to handle the weight of the world around him. He wants desperately to believe that it is. He wants to completely surrender, to be himself by your side without fear. But the fear of losing his identity, of losing himself in others' expectations, and of being judged and isolated by his community causes him to pull back. And perhaps deep down, he feels that he loves you so much that he doesn't want to make you suffer. He doesn't want to force you to understand something that he himself is still trying to process. His dilemma is this: how to love you without losing his essence, how to be with you without having to give up a fundamental part of who he is. Sometimes he wonders if by choosing you, he's choosing something that may never be accepted. He doesn't know what to do with this love, with this blend of such intense and contradictory feelings. He loves you, but in his mind, there's a constant battle. He feels that if he follows this path with you, he will be challenging everything he has always believed, and that is an internal struggle that consumes him. Yet as time goes on, something begins to form within him, a clarity. He starts to realize that perhaps the true difference between the two of you isn't cultural or religious. Perhaps the real difference lies in the way he sees himself. He starts to understand that if he loves you, he is not losing himself. He is finding himself. He begins to realize that in the end, what he has to lose isn't his identity, but his freedom to love. And this is a fear he starts to comprehend. The fear of not being able to be himself next to the one he loves. The question that begins to surface for him, stronger than ever, is this: can he truly be himself while loving you? Is his love enough to free him from the guilt, the fear, and the expectations he carries? He doesn't know, but he's starting to understand that perhaps the biggest challenge isn't you. It isn't the differences between the two of you. The biggest challenge may be the confrontation with himself. He needs to realize that he can liberate himself from the pressure of having to follow a path that isn't his own. He can create a new path, a path that is uniquely yours. He begins to understand that loving you isn't a sacrifice. It isn't about losing oneself. It's about gaining oneself. He feels this growing within him, like a flame that starts to warm his doubts, dissolving his insecurities. And at the same time, he realizes something even more important. By allowing himself to love you, he isn't breaking away from his culture or his religion. He's simply breaking down the barriers he built around his heart and soul. He realizes that he doesn't need to sacrifice his essence to be with you. He can be who he truly is, and by being who he is, he can love you in a way that transcends any differences. The fear he once felt is now starting to dissolve. Not overnight, not magically, but slowly, as he begins to see that by loving you he isn't losing himself. He's finding himself in a way he never imagined possible. He starts to see that by fighting for this love, he isn't renouncing his identity. He's simply expanding his capacity to love, to understand, to live a life without the chains that once bound him. The truth is that what he needs right now is courage. Courage to open up to this love without fear. Courage to embrace who he is, without guilt or regret. He needs to realize that by choosing you, he is not choosing to give anything up. He is simply opening the door to a new way of living, loving, and being, and that is the true freedom he has yet to allow himself to experience. He is beginning to understand that true freedom does not lie in conforming to the expectations of others, but in the authenticity of his own heart. He wants you. He loves you. But he needs to recognize that the love he feels for you is the key to his own freedom. He knows that cultural, religious, and social differences cannot define who he is. Who he is not determined by the world around him. Who he is runs much deeper, something he needs to discover, and in doing so, he can finally live love fully, without fear, without guilt. Have you been through this? Leave a heart if you're with him on this journey. He is realizing this now more and more each day. He is beginning to see that in order to be with you, he needs to free himself from his internal shackles. He needs to understand that his true strength lies in accepting who he is, without being influenced by the limitations of what others expect from him. He loves you, and that love could be the catalyst for a profound transformation within him. And as he transforms, he will finally be able to be himself by your side. His journey is not easy. It won't be quick, but he is beginning to realize that it is possible. He can love you without losing himself. He can love you without fear. And this is the first step toward a true love that knows no barriers. This is the path he will start to walk now. And although he doesn't know what the future will hold, he is finally willing to take the risk of losing himself to find himself. And you, when will you realize the power of this love that is blossoming? It's getting closer, closer to realizing that the fear that once paralyzed him is no longer as strong as the love he feels for you. Doubt, the weight of tradition, culture, and religion are slowly beginning to dissolve as he allows himself to see something deeper. The truth that the love he has for you is not a threat to who he is. He starts to understand that what he thought was a chasm between him and you is, in reality, just a bridge he can cross one step at a time. Every movement, every gesture of affection, every conversation between you two serves as a reminder that love doesn't need to be separate from roots, beliefs, or origins. Love can coexist with diversity. It can thrive even in different terrains, where life grows in diverse and complex ways. He realizes that beside you, he's not losing himself. He is expanding, becoming more than he ever imagined he could be. But this change is not easy. With each step, each new decision, he feels the weight of all expectations, the gaze of others, the judgment of his community, and he is still afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood, afraid that his choice won't be accepted, afraid of losing his family, of being rejected by those who have always been his foundation. These fears are real, and he cannot disregard them. However, as he looks at you, feeling the intensity of this love, he begins to realize something important. His life can be more than just conforming to what has always been said to be right. He starts to see that true love requires authenticity. Loving you is not just about following a selfish desire, but a journey of evolution, growth, and building a new path. He begins to understand that by choosing to live this love, he is not denying his roots. He is simply creating a new space where both can thrive, where differences are not barriers but opportunities for a richer, more diverse life. He starts to grasp that by loving you, he doesn't have to give up who he is. He can be true to himself, to you, and to the world around him. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is the moment of greatest transformation in his life. This journey of love is just getting started. If you are also learning to love without fears, without barriers, join me for the next video. What's coming next is going to change the way you see love. I'll see you there.